Hey guys, you're back with me, Dustin Marion, on another episode of Fantasy Nights. Still in the same outfit, still trying to pump out these videos, still trying to put my voice out there. Bear with me, this is kind of a testing kind of deal just to see, video, audio quality and stuff like that. I mean, I'm cheating with these earphones, which by the way I got off of Amazon. I tell you, I'm a big fan of Amazon. No reason to shop in a store anymore if you know your size and what you really want. You can window shop it at a store, but getting it mailed to your house is pretty cool. So let's dive into my next discussion, and want to kind of go off, and I'm gonna like freestyle a little bit because I don't have it on paper, but I want to kind of go over some of the fantasy football rankings. We'll do a 1 to 12, and we'll kind of do a pretty fast run through of what I remember. You guys can leave comments below and tell me what you think, and argue with me and debate me, and we can go back and forth and see which ones really stand out. But the overall pick AB, I just finished watching his top 100 video, and they had black and yellow. It was amazing. Antonio Brown, AB, is absolutely a beast. The best dancer in the NFL right now. Is just there's not too much to say. The kid is fast. The kid's got hands. This is the kind of story I always enjoy, which is a late round pick. Working hard and putting in the time and getting it done. He's just fantastic and phenomenal. And if you look at some of the tape that they show, some of the game tape that they show on the top 100, just the fact that him and Ben have this great, throw and catch kind of, trust is fantastic. I mean, some of the throws are just like amazing. I mean, it's like the ball is on a string. There's literally no space for Antonio to catch it. So, hands down, I'm mad at myself. I picked Dez over Antonio last year. I had a chance to. Ended up losing really bad in that league because Dez got injured. But that's for a whole other segment. Let's go on to the number 2 overall pick, which is Julio Jones. Just watched his top 100. And another fantastic, not as cool just because they didn't have the sick rap video deal, but I kind of like that they have a nickname for him now that nobody's really like airing out, but I'll try to air it out as much as I can. But they call him Who, I guess short for Julio. And so Who is unbelievable, is a freak. I think in Shanahan's offense is just unbelievable because he can line up as the X, Y, and Z. I think he's the most dangerous in the slot, which is going to be tough. I mean, they throw him in bubble screens. I mean, this guy is unbelievable. A lot like Antonio, he's just bigger. It's really interesting to see how some of these teams take, when you have a dynamic player like that, you want him to touch the ball as much as possible. I mean, for example, Antonio, going back real quick, Antonio, returns punts on occasions, which I wouldn't do just because if he got injured, that would suck. But it's kind of cool, him like jump kicking punters in the face as he runs back returns. That's pretty, tough guy-ish. I didn't want to say any curse words on this. I want to try to keep it as vanilla as possible. But Julio's fantastic. Wingspan, hands, catch, unblockable. Uncoverable. You can't catch up to him. He's just unbelievable. There's not much to say. I think these first 3 are just locks. And then you got ODB or OBJ or whatever 3-letter acronym they throw out for him out there, which is cool, fun, and interesting, I guess, because it keeps people guessing on what. But I think he's OBJ. Or OD, yeah, I think some like that. I'm more confused just because there's so many, and I just got back into the NFL rotation. I kind of was like dormant for a little bit. I've been geeking out just recently, so there's not much to say about him. Odell Beckham is great. There's always been, to me, question marks from the Giants' standpoint of conditioning and over-conditioning. Tom Coughlin was kind of a tyrant in that regard. I hope McAdoo comes in and kind of like takes a little bit more easier, especially on the vets and some of these other players, just because hamstring injuries with Beckham, because he's just such a ridiculous athlete. But best hands probably. I mean, it's tough. These guys are all a tie. It's all a toss-up. For me, if I met Eli Manning in real life, I'd be more than humble to talk to him and meet him and shake his hand. I mean, I'm not a pro quarterback, but he's definitely not someone, in my opinion, that, I mean, he considers himself elite. And, with the titles that he has, I can't argue that. I would take a Ben over him, and I would take a Matty Ice over him. In the regards of being thrown to as a player. The cool thing is that Eli Manning is going to force feed the ball to Beckham. Moving on to the 4th spot, I believe the 4th spot belongs to David Johnson. Now, in my opinion, I don't know why everybody's getting so crazy about David Johnson. I like him, and I'm not going to say I don't love him, but I just don't see it. I mean, he had a pretty explosive rookie year, and if you look at some of the analysts and how they talk about stuff, they talk about, like, TDs being fluky, and he got a couple TDs on some catches. He got a couple TDs on some returns, punting and kicking. So I just don't know if he's going to be able to create the same kind of return on investment, especially at the 4. Especially when Arizona, they have a lot of weapons there, and they try to do so many different things, and for whatever reason, I don't feel like Bruce Arians cares about him as much just because he's a younger player. In my opinion, I think that there's an argument to put Adrian Peterson at this position. There's also an argument to put Devontae Freeman, who in my opinion had hands down the best season of a running back. Now, a lot of people are going to argue and say it was only a 5-game stretch that he did all his damage. That's totally understandable, but it doesn't matter. If he has another 5-game stretch again like that, he's going to dominate fantasy. He's going to dominate the fantasy numbers, and I don't know why he wouldn't be the overall pick. I mean, Le'Veon did that in his 2nd year and ended up, I think, being number 1 overall, if not number 2. And also, it's pretty interesting to see, like, all these different rankings out there, because the first 3, picks are receivers, and I get that, but most people play standard. And in standard, the Adrian Petersons of the world, I think, have a lot more value, especially now with the news coming out that Bridgewater went down. Even with Bridgewater not going down, I still think that AP, in my opinion, until it's all said and done, and they cart him off the field, in my opinion, he should be the number 1 overall pick, slam dunk all the time. And most of these rankings are done for standard leagues. So, I'll say we'll go in that order. We'll say, Johnson's 4, Peterson's 5, and then Freeman is going to be 6. And then at 7, it's argumentative. I think that some people would say that they would put Hopkins in there. I would say you got to put Gronkowski. Just watch his top 100 video. He's absolutely ridiculous. I mean, if this guy could stay healthy, he's unbelievable. I mean, it's funny how many people were gushing over Jimmy Graham just because Drew Brees was throwing to him, and now because he's traded and he kind of has some discrepancies with contract disputes and wanting to get paid as a wideout and getting traded to Seattle and kind of getting injured, and he just kind of had this kind of bad, media circus kind of deal following him. I still think he's pretty good, and I still think he's elite, but Gronkowski just, oh my God, this guy is unbelievable. It doesn't matter where you throw the ball, he can catch it. His wingspan, his catch radius is ridiculous. Apparently he runs a 4.4, which is unbelievable. He runs like a truck. Once he goes downhill, it's hard to take him down. It's going to take 2 or 3 guys to take him. The cornerbacks ain't going to stop him. You need a pretty strong safety. Even linebackers, he can blow them up going downfield. So Gronk, I would say I would give 7. And then we'll go with Hopkins. Hopkins, I don't know, man. I'm really suspect about Hopkins. I don't really see it. I'm not saying that I don't believe in the skills or the talent. I do. I just don't really think that Osweiler is the quarterback to elevate his numbers so that he can maintain as a top 5 wide receiver. Now, that could also change if Lamar Miller shows up and does a lot of damage, and then maybe on the one-on-one play action rollouts that Kubiak likes, oh, excuse me, not even, I apologize, I misspoke. Kubiak is not even his coach. He has the former coach, quarterback coach from New England that's now down there. And, forgive me because it's slipping my name. I think it's O'Brien. Yes, it is O'Brien. So he's playing for O'Brien. And O'Brien, actually, obviously, they don't run that style of offense. They run more of a standard offense. They're going to run more of like that Patriots open set offense. And I don't know if Osweiler can stand there and pick teams apart in open sets. I think that his arm strength is not that great. I've seen him live, and he had a lot of ball sail on him, and he had a lot of ball sink on him, and he had a pretty sick team in Denver when he played there. So I won't spend too much time on this guy because I just don't think the quarterback situation is going to be great for him. And then what do we got? At 9, I'll probably put the guy that I took in one of my leagues, which is Allen Robinson. Allen Robinson is just absolutely ridiculous. He's made some catches already in the preseason, which are fantastic. He's another player that was a low draft pick in the sense of, went late in rounds, and not in fantasy, but in real life, and has just worked his way to the top and has just been destroying the competition. I really am really high on Jacksonville this year. It was funny, I was just watching the NFL Network, and I seen one of their commercials talking about the NFL's back, and their owner, the Shad, was on it, and it's funny how he's trying to make a name for himself, and I think Jacksonville is a serious team. I love that whole division. I think that whole division is going to be a problem to keep up with. And then this is another player that I'm kind of in between on. I mean, I was really high on him, AJ Green, but I don't know. I think he might have a bounce back season. I've looked at some of the mock drafts that some of the experts have done. He looks like a player, in my opinion, that's going a little too early for me. I don't know if I would put him into the top, top 12, but I guess he has to go there. So what, you got 8, 9, that's we'll put AJ at 10, and then we'll round it out with 2 Dallas Cowboys. We'll start with Des Bryant. Love Des Bryant. Didn't love him as much with Tony Romo. Really love him now with Dak. I think Dak might be the quarterback that Des needs. They need to air it out often. They need to get that guy fed. And I think Des Bryant is the kind of player that, he kind of Terrell Owens-ish, in the sense that, not that he could be a problem on the sidelines, but, these guys want to win and they're competitive and they want the ball. I mean, I've never understood. I mean, I love the whole Keyshawn Martin. No, not Keyshawn Martin. That was a power forward for the Jersey Nets. Keyshawn, I'm slipping my his last name right now. I'll probably come back to me, but give me the damn ball, basically, is what I'm trying to get at. And overall, I think that's where it's at. I mean, you want players that want the ball. I don't see why wouldn't you think that that's a good thing, but you just can't be a problem on the sideline. And then to finish this discussion off is a Zeke. High on him. Offensive line, I think, is going to be good. I think now that they got Dak, that's going to be great. I really like Alfred Morris. I think Alfred Morris can be a guy that could spell Zeke and keep him fresh. And I think that with Alf and Zeke, that could be a great 1-2 punch with that offensive line, which I think that I don't see Zeke, in my opinion. I mean, he might have the touchdowns. And he might go 1,010, which is, top 12 overall. But I just don't see it working totally out. I mean, he's still a rookie, and he's still a young kid. I mean, I love the way he blew up Cam in that preseason game, so it showed that he had attitude, power. But the fact that they leaked out the domestic violence stuff, I mean, it just gives me questions. Of course, Dallas would take a character flawed individual. So that's my list, 1 through 12. We'll go over real quick. If I can remember, it's going to be Antonio Brown. It's not my list. It's my crapped up version of ESPN and everybody else's. But it's going to be Antonio Brown at 1, Julio Jones at 2. At 3, we're going to go Odell Beckham. At 4, we're going to go David Johnson. At 5, we're going to go Adrian Peterson. At 6, we're going to go Devontae Freeman. At 7, we're going to go Gronkowski. At 8, we're going to go Hopkins. At 9, we're going to go, I believe it was AJ Green. No, excuse me, it was Allen Robinson. At 10 is AJ Green. At 11, it's Des Bryant. And at 12 is Ezekiel Elliott. So leave some comments behind. Let's chat it up. Let's talk it up. Let me know what you think. We can go back and forth all day. Enjoy the rest of your day. Peace out.